Mine would be from Oliver, and it would be, I'd do anything for you, dear, anything for you, dear, anything for you.
I sang one yesterday, but I'll sing it again. It's she's a little old lady from Pasadena. Go, granny, go, granny, go, granny, go.
My song is Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. And I would dress as Carol Channing.
No, I said this yesterday because like Zelina has got so many issues from her childhood that she was so wronged that if I was Zelina's friend, I would tell her to just let it go. Let it go, let it go. The cold never bothered me anyway.
Look, right, no, seriously, I didn't have like a granny song or a diamond. What kind of song goes with my character? Literally, like, I can't think of anything. I can what? Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well sung, nice.
Don't let him off the hook. Don't let him off the hook. He said, don't sing, don't sing. If you sing, then I sing, and I can't sing. I'm so throwing you under the bus right now.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
My mind had gone completely blank, and the only thing I can think of is Robin Hood, riding through the land. Robin Hood, with his band of men. Will he retreat back to Sherwood? Course he should, course he should, course he should. That's all I've got.
I mean, you know what though? Eddie Kitsis, one of our writers, he loves his music, and each of our characters does have like some obscure rock song that's connected to each of our. I know he's telling me I'm some Lou Reed song or something, and about drinking drunks or something like that.
Take a walk on the wild side.
No, I mean it wasn't Wild Side, but what was interesting is like that each one of us does have that. So when he's in the writing mode, we're in that he'll put on this music that's evocative of the character. So it's cool that it kind of does. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they do a musical version at some point. without jumping the Sharknado.
Don't do it.
Thank you for stumping us with that question.
Thank you. Yeah, cheers.
Excellent.
Robbie didn't sing? You said
Robbie didn't sing. Thank you. Robbie, in the chaos, I completely forgotten.
I believe I can fly.
I believe I can touch the sky.
Think about you every night and day.
Spread my wings and fly away.
Yeah, I did it.
All right, hard to follow that one, but here we go.
Hello, everyone. 2 years ago, when the cast of Once Upon a Time came, we were over in the Crystal Ballroom and I asked a question. And the question was, what modern myth would you like to see and be a part of on Once Upon a Time? Now, I believe this was before that Peter Pan had come out, so I believe that's now the most modern one. But Lee answered with something very specific.
Uh-oh.
And he said, hand me my lightsaber. Well, I'm back now to ask, are you ready for your lightsaber?
I'm always ready for my lightsaber, man. Yeah, but it'd be interesting. I mean, now, you know, honestly, with the Disney Pantheon expanding, some people were talking to me today about that, talking about, you know, Eastern fairy tale or Native American. Somebody was saying Paul Bunyan would be cool, or Casey Jones and the Magic Train. I mean, I think, honestly, the exciting thing about it is that it could go anywhere. As long as you can kind of make it work in a realistic way. It's like the question we had earlier about will that character be revealed as part of the family? Well, I can almost guarantee it because, you know, in this world we all are related through our kind of common experience of being fairy tale characters, right? Of living in a magical world. You know, and that's what kind of makes it fun. We all have something in common, you know, and that would be that we are not of this world, we're of that world. Right? So wherever they want to take it, I'm willing to go. I'll be Boba Fett, grumpy, and a hardcore.
Over here.
All right, this is for all of you. I was just wondering, growing up, what was some of your favorite fairy tales read to you?
I liked Ariel. I always wanted to be Ariel. My hair used to be really, really long when I was younger, and I used to babysit for these little boys that literally thought I was Ariel. So when I would put them to bed, I would have to sing, I know all the words to Ariel. So they would make me sing, like, look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Before I would send them to bed. So I loved that. I think I was like 14 when it came out, and I transcribed the whole thing and memorized it. Didn't have many friends. So that's how I spent my childhood, was learning songs to Disney, pretty much. Loved it.
I think we've all been asked that question a little bit, and I always struggled. I could never remember which ones that I loved, and I started thinking about the Disney movies that I liked, and I was a little bit older when it came out, but obviously, as everyone in the room knows, recently we lost one of the greatest guys that we ever had, which was Robin Williams, and I completely forgot how much I loved Aladdin, and how brilliant Robin was as the genie. So I think everybody's going to miss him forever and ever and ever. He was very special, and so, but we'll always still have those films, so thank you, Robin. I've put it written down now, haven't I?
I always wanted to be Red Riding Hood. I didn't really plan on being the granny, but I'm very happy to be playing a 70-year-old woman. That's good. So yes, when we were kids, we used to play Red Riding Hood, and sometimes the wolf would eat Granny, and sometimes Granny would come out of his stomach. Did you know that is, like, some stories vary? Yeah, so we'd always play it different, that sometimes Granny lived and sometimes she didn't live. But now I encourage people to play it that Granny lives.
I loved Rapunzel. Yeah, I thought it was pretty amazing. Beautiful woman in the tower, lowering her hair. Come on, what do you mean? What's up with that?
No, climbing up. No, I was like, no way, fairy tales for girls, like hardcore young. I mean, it wasn't until I got into this that I kind of seriously. And it's not a sexist thing. It's just like that's just kind of who I am. You know, like I was into pirates. My fairy tales would have been like the myths of like the Old West, or you know, George Patton or something. You know, but I've learned that these stories are deep and dark and beautiful stories of you know, morality and the concept, because I just started thinking about that with a little more open mind about why do we tell stories? What's that tradition of storytelling? Where did that come from? Why would these stories have lasted for all those years? And basically, I mean, these are, what would you say to your daughter when she was young and coming of age in a time that wasn't quite as educated? Well, you'd make up this story about going out and there's a wolf out there, right? I mean,
tell her to be careful.
Exactly.
The wonderful thing about this show, and if any of you get a chance to go back, and you know, we're so affected by the media today, and we watch and we hear and we listen, but if you go back to read some of these stories, you'll find some of the intricacies that you're so much enjoying through the visual form right now. You'll find some real gems and some real pearls in these stories, and they were exactly as you're describing.
I started reading, like, there was a book that came out in the first season of Once Upon a Time, which was a Once Upon a Time fairy tale book. Did any of you guys ever see that one? It was a fairly thin, kind of hardback book. And I was reading it to my kid, who was probably 5 and a half at the time. And the first one was like Hansel and Gretel. I mean, what a great story to start with. Oh, the mom starting to eat her kid, put her in a cage. I was skip.
Can't read that, can't read that.
Literally read, like, you know, Once Upon a Time and the end. And I made up the rest of it because I was like, this is too dark for my kid, basically. But in reality, these are some dark, twisted, they would be rated R. You know, now.
Our question is for all of you. What was your favorite scene or episode to film?
I like kissing Amy Acker. That's still my favorite scene.
I liked my Genie episode. I was so in love with the Queen. It sort of explained how Sydney gets into the mirror. And so that was some of my favorite stuff because I got a chance to be in my little genie lair, in my little bottle, and get out and the poop.
You just like those pants.
Yeah, I did like those pants.
Back to the 80s, dude.
Yeah.
You were like,
my little pants, my turban.
I like red-handed when I got to reveal the crossbow. When up in the cabin in the Enchanted Forest, and when we lock the cabin all up, and then Red goes to bed, and then I pull out the crossbow. It's my favorite.
All my scenes with Robert Carlyle, it was such a joy to film and shoot. He's such a brilliant, talented, experienced guy, and he's been around for a really long time in film and television.
You're saying Robert's old? You just chucked
No.
the bus will have you sing again.
Don't twist my words, Lee. But what I'm saying is, I learned a lot in my in what was for me like a short time of really being with him, because I didn't have an abundance of scenes with Bobby, but they were the most enlightening. And looking back on them now, I always found that I had the most fun doing them, just not just acting, but rehearsing, just being on set at that point in time was always such a joy for me. So I'll always look back fondly upon those scenes and those episodes in which I interacted with Bobby.
Again, I never think of these things until somebody asks. I think the first one that comes to mind, I think, is the scene where Robin meets Regina. I think I shot like one of your flying monkeys or something, and then I offer my hand to her and I say something, milady. I can't remember what it was. But it just felt, there's times as an actor when you have to work hard to get where you're going, and there's times when you go, I'm this guy right now. I am this guy. I feel it in my bones. And I think that day more than any other, I was like, I'm Robin Hood. This is pretty cool. I'm like the medieval James Bond. So that stands out. And again, a bit like Rob, I think we're all fans of each other, but especially Robert Carlyle's a bit of an acting hero of mine. I had a scene where I literally had a standoff with him, and I was excited because I'm a fan of Bobby's, and when we actually came to shoot it, I only had about 4 lines. I couldn't remember them because I kept going, it's Bobby Carlyle. It's Bobby Carlyle from Trainspotting and Full Monty, and I was like, oh shit, it's my line. But nearly every day. I mean, some days the days are long, but it's always fun. This is one of the nicest casts I've ever had the good fortune to work with. So every day is a joy on one. It really is.
My favourite episode is 316, It's Not Easy Being Green. And I liked it because I got to show my backstory, and I loved playing the younger version of me, and I loved explaining, why Selena became green and everything, but I also loved all of my stuff that I had with the Evil Queen. And just that relationship between my sister and in the diner, and I also love putting Bobby in a cage. What's better than that? I just loved locking up Rumple. It was so cool and so sexy. I love the fact that I had all these scenes, with Regina and with Rumple, and somehow, some way, I would always end up like nose to nose with both of them. And it was these scenes where it was like a dance, and like me and Lana were like nose to nose, and then me and Bobby were nose to nose, and it was just so intense because we were playing such powerful, strong people, and it was like this dance where these two people just moving around, and it was one of the most, working with those two one-on-one like that is the delicious highlight of my career thus far.
I'm lucky too that I got to play a lot of scenes with Ginny Goodwin, and Ginny, to me, is like, there's so much depth, there's a simpleness to what she does, but there's so much going on. So, and one of my favorites was when I first meet her and we're both locked in jail. So we meet in the jail. It just like, makes me, I can feel the emotion that we had there. And we're meeting and I'm telling her, yeah, I fell in love with this girl and screwed up and stole this thing. And we realize we're both in jail for love. And then my stealthy comes in, the 8th dwarf, right? He comes in and he springs me. We're about to escape, and I'm going to leave her because she just, I don't want to be bothered. And she goes, good luck with your love. Hope you get lucky. And then I'm like, my guy's just like, oh my God, I'm going to have to spring her. I'm stuck with her now. But what it was is she's such a generous actor, as well as all these actors, and especially these dudes on the stage as well. But we really care. It makes it really fun to do this show. Because a lot of times, TV goes fast. But the time that's our time, the actual time between the lines, we talk fast because we don't want it cut out. But when we look each other in the eyes on any given day, that's when the magic happens. And that's why we do what we do. That's what turns us on, is the connection between the souls. And then how that reverberates and how that makes you feel. That's what this game is all about. Don't forget, we can't do it if you're not watching it. You guys define our art form. So it's this whole relationship. So when you do go toe-to-toe with Bobby Carlyle or Ginny Goodwin or Lana Parrilla, you better be on your game or they'll eat you up. You gotta be on your game.
Oh yeah.
One more question right there, last question.
Okay. Has playing these very different versions of these characters changed your view about the Disney movies? About what?
About the Disney movies?
About the Disney movies,
Changes
how
Disney.
playing these characters changed your view of how you view the Disney versions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, quite different. But yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. It's changed my perception of it. It's made me view